We have draft minutes ready for approval or vote. The Public Board of Education meeting on June 16th, 2021. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Ms.
Second.
Skirby?
Second.
Who's second it?
You can have it.
Mr. Tefano? Okay, speak up tonight, guys. Any additions, corrections, detractions?
Clarification,
Yes, sir.
are we talking 8/18 or 6/16?
I'm sorry, did I say June 16th?
No, I don't know which one we're starting with, that's all.
I'm going by the
You said June
agenda.
16th.
You did.
I did say June
Those are the,
16th.
those are the minutes that have been tabled the last two meetings.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought, I just wanted to
I'm
make sure.
going from the top.
No, from the top, you're going from the bottom. Oh, yeah.
I think I have the newer
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, well, this is why I was confused.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so, just so the public knows, we get the agendas on Friday, but they are subject to change until today, so I just picked up the most recent agenda. So my colleagues, if they ask questions, it's just because the agenda changes so often. I'm sorry. So the Public Board of Education meeting, June 16, 2021, please. And we've got a motion, a second.
Yep.
Any questions?
Now we have room for comments?
Yes, please.
Okay, so question/comment. So I was curious why this was tabled for a month and then 2 months. And so I got the attachment, I opened it up today, and I see that only changes in red, and it's pretty lengthy. So I have a couple of questions as to, and we've had this debate for years that I've sat here with you side by side about the structure of minutes. The version of summary, meaning to be, give everybody an idea what was said, what was covered. If you want to know the specifics, you go back to the videotape and you watch it in its entirety. But it seems like, and again, forgive me, but everything is the same, everything is a summary, and then there's one member of the public where it's basically a transcript of every word he said. So my argument is this. A, I don't find that acceptable per the way we always do minutes. B, you know, again, we've talked about this for years. I'm not a fan of putting politics into the school board. Politics are across Prineville Road. This is for the students of Monroe. This is the school board. So in here, in the verbatim transcript, is a lot of politics. Again, I don't know why it's in here, but that's my objection. And I'd also say the word transparency was used by this gentleman many times. Obviously a big fan of transparency. You've often talked about being a fan of transparency for years. So let's talk about transparency. Why is this added in verbatim, nobody else's, and whose idea was that? Because I know I didn't have a say in that.
Okay. I will answer that question. We have gone back and forth for months now, since July, on these minutes. And we have asked for different corrections, and at one point, I just felt the only way to get this settled was to put verbatim minutes. Some of the board members and I have always been a fan of verbatim minutes across the board.
And respectfully, you have, and I haven't.
I would love to see that. It was really to end the controversy or the difference between what was a correction and what was an edited version.
So you're sort of choosing to break the rules to acquiesce a few board members and their pet peeve, as opposed to holding true to what is this Board of Ed and everything we've worked so hard for, and what is in policy on how you're supposed to do the minutes. This is not what's in policy. We don't talk about in policy about putting anything as a transcript verbatim. That's not what the minutes are for. And I firmly object to this. For whatever that's worth, I will be voting no.
That's fine.
And I wanted my voice heard, so thank you.
And I appreciate that, and I don't disagree with you entirely. However, if we can't come to terms with minutes, then the reality is, this is what was said, a verbatim construction is what was said. I, again, think that if we can get a comprehensive, there's a very subtle line between comprehensive minutes and what actually happened. My position, just personally, but there's a whole board, and the board will be voting on it. But if someone goes to these minutes in a year from now, and I have had objections over the 8 years that I've been here, that the minutes are not necessarily comprehensible. If someone wants to go back 2 years for minutes that we had, A lot of times, they won't understand the content or the context of the conversation, and I have often voted no on minutes. So this was an attempt to just get the argument settled, because this is what was actually said.
But only for this one person, only
Well,
for this one member of the public.
Okay.
And again, I'll make my final argument is that, again, it spews politics. And everybody has the right to say what they want and have their opinion. But we should squash that here on the Board of Ed, because we are not a political
Well-
board. We are a board for the school.
See, that's the issue.
And
I'll
that's
be
another
with you.
debate we've had for
Yeah,
years.
I mean, I don't believe in squashing anything or censoring anything, and sometimes when the minutes come out, they are editorialized, which is also an objection that I've had in the past. So the only thing I could see to be real is that this is what was actually said. Ms. Belko.
Policy 0168, recording board meetings. Date created June 2003, date edited February 2019. Scroll down to the section, the board secretary shall make an audio tape recording, a videotape recording of each board meeting as an administrative aid in the preparation. The recording shall be retained for 60 days, must be at least 45 days, or until either summary or verbatim transcripts have been approved as minutes. Whichever is longer, after which time they may be erased only if permission is granted by the New Jersey Department of State, Division of Archives and Records Management. So our policy does state that verbatim minutes are permitted, and we can use them.
Madam President?
I'd like to hear from board members, please. Mr. Paluri.
Madam President, started the meeting very auspiciously, and I saw your emotion. I share the same with you. I heard both sides. It may be in the policy to transcript what was said verbatim, which we haven't been doing. What I find really amazing is that there are actually 4 speakers that spoke in that particular session. And prior to that, a half a dozen people spoke as well. And if I may read this, for everything else, inquired about the next steps of the BG&T committee meeting. Next speaker spoke in support of the business administrator. Next speaker spoke about the anticipated meeting with the legislators. Whereas for this one person, there is a 3/4 page of verbatim with references to Democratic Party, incorrectly I might add, because I think that gentleman was referring to me as the Democratic organizational chair, which I'm not. This is purely done to discredit people, to showcase their presence at the Board of Education, and to propagate unnecessary information that's really not needed in the Board of Education. I completely agree with my colleague Paul Rutsky that this is nothing more than politics. We should not be encouraging this type of transcripts go in. A lot of people come here, a lot of people speak their mind. Sometimes they attack personally. We sit here and listen. But this is the first time in the last 3 years, and even before that, ever since I've been coming to the Board of Ed meetings, I have seen somebody fighting to have this in there. I don't know which board member really pushed for this. If it is going to be transcripted, transcript for everybody and everything.
I would.
Don't pick and choose one because there's a Democratic Party or a political party has been identified here. This is absolutely wrong, and I want people to know that this is the type of politics this town and sometimes this board is beginning to play. Thank you.
Mr. Paluri, if you would have asked for the verbatim of all of them, I would certainly be in agreement with that as well.
Madam Chair, Madam President, we had several discussions. There is a common guidelines for meeting minutes and transcripts. In planning board where I serve, there are meeting minutes written, and there's a transcript of a specific application done.
Right.
They're completely two different things. Meeting minutes are just the meeting minutes. Transcripts are just that. You have a court transcriber sitting there and typing away every single word that's said. That is not what meeting minutes are, in my honest opinion. This is not in the corporate America. This is not in nonprofit organizations. This is not in any organization. That the meeting minutes reflect verbatim of transcript of what people speak. I mean, clearly, let's be realistic, like you said, right? This is clearly somebody asking you to put this in so that they could propagate and campaign against someone else.
Well,